Hi everyone. So now that we know the basic ACT science strategy, what we're going to do is we're going to apply the strategy to a passage from the curriculum. So this is test number 1 from our online curriculum. So you can see here in this passage, this is a passage from the test, and we're going to start going through the questions. So hopefully you've done this before and you can watch how we can use our strategies for the different question types to go over it. So let's start with the first question from this passage. So this first question over here is a basic data question. Usually with the science passages, they like to start with the easier questions, quote unquote easier questions, and that's typically going to be a data question. So number 6, according to figure 2, each mass was at point R at which of the following 2 times? Now again, how it's set up on the same page here, it's not going to be like that on the test. So we need to repeat that mantra, like a mantra, we need to repeat that question in our head over and over again. We're looking in figure 2, point R, at which 2 points? So again, scroll to figure 2, here's point R, at which 2 points? So I can see here at 0, at T2, and at T4. So the answer is going to be answer choice J, which says T2 and T4. A nice basic data question. Now, let's look at the next question. So in this next question over here, this is a trend question, right? It's not a basic trend question because they're not actually using the words increase or decrease in the answer choices. They're giving it to you in the form of a graph, which makes it a little bit more interesting, but it's the same idea as any other trend question. So based on trials 7 through 9, which of the following graphs best represents the relationship between mass and D? So now we repeat the information in our head, just like always. We're going to trial 7 through 9, that's table 3 over here. And we're looking at the relationship between mass. So as the mass will go this way, as the mass is increasing, as we go from trial 7 to 8 to then 9, what's happening to D? I can see here that my D is also increasing. So we're looking for that slanted line with a positive slope, which is going to be answer choice C. As the mass is increasing, my D is increasing, that positive slope. Let's try the next one. In this next question here, we're talking about an additional trial being conducted, okay? Additional trial, an additional point not on the graph. There's our estimation question, okay? Again, using the language to help decipher which type of question it is. So we're looking in study 1 with a mass of 0.75. We want to know what P is. So scroll right in your brain, right? Move right over study 1. Mass of 0.75. Where's 0.75? That would be right in between, smack in the middle of 0.5 and 1. So between trials 1 and 2, we want to know what P would be. So P is going to have to be right smack in the middle, somewhere between 0.44 and 0.628. So that would be answer choice G, between 0.44 and 0.628. Let's try the next one. So the next one is that type of question where they're really kind of asking you to just use the information given and change some things around. So this is kind of like a trends question, but let's see how it goes. Based on the introductory information. Now, they're giving you some keywords, introductory information. I know I'm going to look at the beginning few paragraphs. Okay, when D was equal to 0, what is the relationship between Y and L? Let's see, where do I see D, Y, and L? I see it in this equation right over here, D equals Y minus L. Now, if I plug in that D is equal to 0, right, that means that 0 is equal to Y minus L. Move that L over, that means that Y is equal to L, which is answer choice A. So again, I found in the passage in the beginning with the introductory information, that equation, I plugged in D was 0 to find the relationship that Y is equal to L. Let's try the next question. So the next question is really a specific question about the setup of the experiment. So in each trial, 2 forces acted on the mass, the force due to gravity and the force due to the spring. At the moment the spring was released at point R, which of these forces must have been stronger? So if you look at the answer choices, it's kind of similar to a yes-no question in the sense that we have 2 facts, because the mass moved upward from point R or because the mass moved downward from point R. And with the yes/no questions, our first step is to just go right to the answer choices and decide which fact is true. Either the mass moved upward from point R or downward. They can't both be true. So once I decide whether it's moving up or down, I can then eliminate the other two answer choices, leaving me with only two more, or a 50-50 chance of getting it right. So without even reading the question or understanding the beginning part of the answer choice, I'm going right to the fact and I'm eliminating two because two are always the same. So let's look. I'm dealing with a spring and point R. So here I can see the distance from point R. And I want to know, is the mass moving upward from point R or is it moving downward from point R? And what I see here is that the mass is moving, the distance from point R is increasing, right? It's increasing. So what that means is that the mass is moving upward from point R. You can see it also over here in this first figure, right? We're moving upward. If here's point R, we're moving upward of point R. So automatically, because we know it's moving upward, the answer choices G can be eliminated and the answer choice J can be eliminated. So now we're just deciding between F and H. Well, if the mass is moving upward from point R, is that the force due to gravity or is that the force due to the spring? Here it's helpful to have some outside knowledge and to understand that the force due to gravity is what's going to bring it down. We're not moving down, we're moving up, so that has to be the force due to the spring. Sometimes you are expected to have basic knowledge, and this would be an example of it. And the last question, you see the words would most likely have been, and you see in the answer choices less, between, or greater. So this here is another estimation question. We're being asked a point that is not on the graph. So let's see what information we're given. Based on the 3 studies, if the students had suspended 1.5 kilogram mass from a spring with K equals 400, what would D be? So let's look for this information. 1.5 kilogram mass, I can see that in trials 3, 6, and 9. And K is equal to 400. Now, using the units to help you locate things is very helpful. Where do we see K mentioned anywhere? If you look over here in study 1, you can see that in study 1, K was equal to 100. In study 2, K was equal to 200. And in study 3, K was equal to 300. So here we're being asked about the imaginary study 4, where K is going to be equal to 400. If you look from study 1 to 2, and you look at trial 3, when the mass is 1.5, the D is 0.146. In table 2, the D is 0.073, so it's going down by about half. And in the next one, the D is 0.049. So in this imaginary study 4, when the mass is 1.5, we know that it's going to be less than, because the trend is going down, it's going to be less than 0.049, which is answer choice A. I hope that seeing me use these different question types to help form a strategy will help you figure out how to master the ACT science section. Something else to remember is that when you do the conflicting viewpoints passage, again, that reading comprehension passage, see if you do well on it. If you do, I would do it earlier on, and if not, I would save it for later. Great job, guys.